Welcome everybody. In today's video, I'm gonna be walking you through my two favorite openings from beginner level all the way to at least 2000. I'm referring to the Jobavalon as white and Karokan as black. So join me on the journey as I'm gonna be walking you through 4 model games that I have played on my speedrun account, showcasing the most vital general ideas that you need to understand in order to dominate with these openings. Alrighty. We are not live, but we are gonna try to get some games in. So, back on the speedrun account, getting the white pieces, 5 minutes end, getting 5 seconds each move, facing a Spanish opponent, Felipe. Oh, Felipe Baguette. Bit of a Spanish-French combination. And, well, just when I say it, he is going for e6, meaning that he's kind of inviting us to play e4, transposing into the French defense. But the very nice thing about playing the Jobava London is that you don't have to really enter this kind of e4 main lines, and you can stick with your own thing and do the bishop move, and we get a starting position after d5. Already you can notice that it's a Jobava London where my opponent has bishop trapped inside the pawn chain. And here my favorite move for anyone below 1500, e3. I would say go for knight b5 only if it wins, basically when black has already committed to knight c6. Other than that, you don't need to complicate yourself with it. So e3, he goes a6, stopping any knight b5, just in case. And very important, move order-wise. Always start with the bishop and then the knight first. I mean, you get what I mean. The knight after we develop the bishop. So e3, bishop d3, then knight f3. My opponent is playing c5, which is actually a very important idea that you need to understand, that whenever black is doing this move, normally they want to go c4, pretty much forcing this bishop back on e2, where the bishop is not gonna be very happy, okay? The bishop is gonna be isolated from his friends and it's not gonna be able to play FIFA anymore. So you wanna be taking. You wanna be taking and keeping this bishop on d3. And then we go knight f3. Next thing you know, we castle. And after castling, we're gonna be having one more key move to actually get a very good opening position. So, expecting him to castle. I had this position hundreds of times and you pause the video. It's not a tactic, but it's a critical move to understand in order to get the right plan. So, from my experience, most people have a tendency of going knight e5, especially if you have a background of coming from the normal London system. This move can be pretty automatic, but it's a bit selfish. It's only improving the knight, while e4, the key move, is meant to activate all the pieces. So, yeah, once you get in e4, a lot of you may not realize, but once you get this position, you're 2 moves away from winning. Because after e4, okay, my opponent took, but having he ignored, we're having the threat of pushing e5, knight back, and then bishop takes on h7, Greek gift, king takes, knight g5 check. We're praying they go back. Just kidding, we win both cases, but if they go back, queen h5 is usually going to be leading to a mating attack. So this position, most of the people get, yeah, you get this development against bad bishop, but then they don't find this e4, which is really the game changer. And when they take, normally black just enters a pretty passive endgame. So yeah, normally this is connected with queen d1. However, queen f6 is the better move in the position. Okay, queen to b6. Pause the video And think about what is potentially the drawback behind queen b6. Okay, or maybe not like necessarily a drawback behind the move in itself, but how to get a winning position. Because black did a great job in avoiding the passive endgame that would have been rising after queen d1, but it doesn't watch out for our ideas. And we can go for the great gift simply because my opponent doesn't have a knight that can get to f6 in time, or a bishop that can control this diagonal. So the bishop is locked, the knight cannot reach f6, meaning yeah, we should get usually pretty crashing construction. So yeah, he if he goes back, queen h5, usually just checkmate on the spot. So king g6 is the best defensive attempt, and okay, I don't see everything till checkmate now, so we'll have to calculate for a little bit. Normally, you just do this queen g4 and they blunder with e5, and then it's mate. Okay. Alright, this may feel a little bit staged, but I swear I'm not paying these guys to make these moves. But I just had similar positions against like FIDE masters, international masters. Everybody makes this mistake. Because now you can simply go knight e6. If the king goes back, you have checkmate on g7, and then otherwise you have bishop g5, forcing the king back in, and then we get the discovery. So bishop e7, bishop d8, bishop h4, anything you'd like, and then checkmate on g7 pretty much. So yeah, okay, wow. That's, dude, this opening is insane. I genuinely don't have to play any moves on the spot. This has all been planned pretty much before, and you can easily win even in 1600 elo games. So this is absolutely insane. Let's pop in a quick game review. Wow, they updated the game review. Holy smokes, it's the first time I'm seeing this. Damn. Alright everybody, we got another white game. I mean, I meant to say another game with the black pieces, and our opponent is literally come to papa. Alright daddy, let's see what you got. Let's see papito. So bishop c4, hillbilly attack already. The stupidity of this opening is reaching quite astronomical levels. But okay, you wanna see this hillbilly, which is very common for like 1000 elo especially, but apparently like 1600 guys still plays it. You just treat it as an improved version of the exchange where the bishop is simply misplaced. It's just stuck staring into that pawn. So okay, develop knights on natural squares, and now we want to develop this bishop somewhere, one of these two squares, before before we play e6. So you don't want to lock in the bishop. That's the key idea that still many beginners tend to make. So okay, what do you play? Pause the video and think about the best move. Because for some reason I noticed that in such spot most people prefer bishop f5, but I don't understand why are you afraid of just getting the bishop to g4 right away. Because if he now goes f3, well, okay, you just provoked a pretty bad weakening. The knight doesn't have the natural square fighting for this square, and also this diagonal is now pretty vulnerable, and any g4 h4 is simply bad for him. It should easily backfire after a move like h5. So yeah, remember this little idea now. e6 simply making room for the bishop. Imagine we get to develop bishop d6 queen c7. He will already have a hard time defending the dark squares. Okay, bishop d6 queen c7, sticking to what I just mentioned. Yeah, threatening bishop takes on h2 with a check. He has to make some sort of ugly move like h3. Just imagine playing h3 with all these dark squares that are just ready to be occupied. Okay, I mean, we cannot really occupy them immediately, but you know, in the long run that could be something to play for. Bishop f6 is bad, not really because of takes, Because king h1, and if we recapture, he has f4, and then our bishop is finally trapped. So that's actually quite a tempting blunder. But bishop f6, you just take and then bring the rook to the g file. So the rook is going to be in direct contact with his king. Yeah, okay, so this, he's trying to trap me. This is clever, because if I take, he has f4, and then my bishop is stuck. So I'm going to take. I'm not going to let my bishop get trapped in the washing machine, so I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to go rook g8. And basically, this is just bad for my opponent, because I can just be annoying. I can literally call him at any time during the night, during the sleep, during his rest days. You know, it's like giving away your phone number to random insurance companies. Just getting these annoying calls every time, asking for you to buy some things that you never heard of. That's what I'm gonna do now. He never asked for h5, but I'm gonna basically try to shove it down his throat. So, yeah, okay. h4. Take this one. Come on, opponent. Okay, king f2. He's trying to run away. Take. Opening up the file for the rook. Very logical. Now, can we infiltrate? Rook is best placed on the second rank. Let's try to test that theory. He has to go king e1. Will he go king e3? That would be pretty acrobatic. The king is like a gymnast. Oh, he goes to f3 instead. All right. All right. This king is looking for sex. I don't know what he's trying to do there. Rook g8. I want to really get him. But rook f2, maybe he's just in time. Huh. Have I made a mistake? Was rook g8 a soft move? Maybe it was. I was looking to do some interesting things over there, but yeah, maybe I just didn't play it precise enough. Could be, but let's calculate. So check king e3. It's probably best to keep rooks. Yeah, that's the key move. So see, these moves that are retreating are very hard to see. I almost completely missed it. So I was looking at rook f2, but then it's not easy to infiltrate. So the key is rook h3. And basically threatening this move. And rook g2 is gonna actually lead to a very funny refutation. So you guys can pause the video and try to find it. But yeah, this backward move, man, I almost like completely missed it. This was a very tough thing to see because it's just somehow not natural for your brain. But yeah, rook g2 likely will be played as this is simple threat. Obviously, the knight is pinned. He doesn't really have other ways to defend, like queen g1 allows us to go bishop e2, and then the other rook is opening up the path towards g3, so we should be able to collect it. And during this whole time, just think about it, wouldn't it be better for this bishop from b3 to be placed on g2? This should pretty much give you a good understanding of why it's not good to play hillbilly attack or like develop the bishop so early against the Caro-Kann, simply because it just does nothing for the rest of the game. All right. Knight f3. So, having he played rook g2, he's double pinned. And we would have gone for rook g2, bishop takes on f4. And he actually cannot recapture. Because taking with a pawn is illegal, and taking with a knight would lose the queen. That's honestly the most beautiful DP that I have ever seen. And I've seen plenty talking about chess. So, knight f3. Can I do this? Huh. Knight g3, bishop f4, bishop g3. That's interesting, but not mandatory. If I take simple move, he takes with the rook, and I don't see how to make progress. Now, in order to bring more fuel to the attack, I could think of maneuvering this knight. That would be fairly logical. Also, e5 as a move in general to open up the position, but that allows his bishop to finally do something. So probably not clever. Yeah, I think knight f5 should be the kind of last nail in the coffin. Maybe. Rook g3 just unnecessary complicating things. So maneuvering the knight to f5. Sure, it's like very tempting to look for a direct win, but you just need a little bit of patience. So just usually it takes to bring one more attacking piece into the attack. And that should make it enough to break through. So bishop c2, he's trying to meet this with takes. Understandable. I can also start bishop f5 and exchange these bishops so that I can then play knight f5 winning g3. That's pretty simple. I can also consider queen c4 move, just improving the position of my queen in a way, although it's not threatening anything, so I don't think it's really all that great. Also maybe e5 move now that the bishop is not really threatening anything. How's e5? D, e, fe, bishop takes. Yeah, I don't think we like actually need it. Bishop f5 should be the simplest. It's kind of a pity that we don't get to checkmate the king, but I have to say he is playing quite good defense after the very questionable opening. But yeah, bishop here, threatening to take knight f5 and then finally scoop up the g3 pawn. Oh, also we have even nicer idea. Maybe. Do we? Yeah, I think we do. Or maybe not really, because I was considering rook g3, knight g3, bishop f4, but then king e2. Okay, rook there. This feels wrong, but I don't know why. So how about takes, queen takes, knight f5. That's at least winning the g3 pawn. I'm looking for an interesting way. And when I say that, I just got that song in my brain playing. I'm looking for a man in finance, 6'5", and all the nonsense. That's what you do when you have TikTok brain. That's just ridiculous. Okay, I'm just gonna play it simple. So we're gonna take, go knight f5. Yeah, just not allowed to go for anything after that song. Take, bring this knight. Oh, king f3, we have such a nice combo. Yes, this is brilliant. Pause the video. This is actually one of the best combinations that I have ever delivered on this channel, which kind of goes to show that the channel is not very big in itself, but it's still, this is such a brilliant move. We have rook takes on g3 and knight takes allows cherry on top of the cake. Knight e4, queen c2, and that's GG. Come to Papito. Finally. All right, he cracked. He played pretty good defense. Like, really credits to my opponent for the way he defended. But yeah, okay, so he's trying last bullet. But yeah, I'm just checking and then winning this pawn by force. Counterplay is over. And quite honestly, I think the game was pretty well played overall. Okay, rook c1. Thank you. Always say thank you when you get gifted 3 pieces. And yeah. Damn. That was pretty nice. And okay, got a 92. Not bad, but just... Okay, honestly, the key moment of the game, like the biggest thing we had to watch out for was not going for the very juicy bishop takes on h2. I'm pretty sure, like, even, okay, maybe on a different day, I could have blundered this just because it's so tempting to take, but then I felt like he has f4 and the bishop doesn't get out. So then we're just like down a piece with a bad position. So after dodging that, the attack was honestly playing itself. We just had to shove this pawn down his throat and key move. This pretty much won the game single-handedly. Then okay, a bit instructive, bring the knight. Okay, I had maybe... According to the computer, this was also pretty crashing, but I didn't really want it to like complicate it in like a crazy positional sack. I just wanted to keep it very clean. So take knight f5 and then kaboom! Kaboom! Alright. Alright. How did you guys like that combination, huh? I bet you guys like this knight d4 idea, huh? Okay, alright. Now, keep these ideas in mind, and with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. Alright everybody, back with another white game, opening it up with d4, facing a proud peasant. And that's not an insult to my opponent, that is literally his nickname. Well, I couldn't relate more, so I'm just gonna play my peasant aggressive opening, getting the starting position of the Jobava London, and let's see what he wants to do with the light square bishop. That is going to be the main driver of our setup. So he plays c6. Kind of, yeah, just a flexible move. Not really showing his hand yet. Just stopping knight b5 ideas. But on the other hand, never pressuring the center. So as a rule of thumb, we do e3 first. You don't want to rush with developing the knight. That's usually a common mistake. You want to give yourself the opportunity to, still answer bishop f5 with a pawn storm. So, yeah, he kind of has to commit. Bishop f5 most common move. However, e6 is also something that I see relatively frequently, especially in these kind of games, the triangle Slav. But when he blocks the bishop, you just go bishop d3 first, then knight f3, castle, and look for, most importantly, the e4 break. That's the key move that a lot of people forget. Bishop f5. Okay, getting ourselves in the driver's seat. About to start launching these pawns. Almost feels like driving a Formula 1 car. Because, okay, the next thing you know, you just play a few logical, solid moves as black, and all of a sudden your opponent is just like a crazy charging bull that's trying to hunt your bishop, and so on. Definitely pretty tricky to handle. So h5, I'm gonna push on h5. Now knight of d7 is normally what they play, but knight g8 is also interesting. And okay, I really researched this specific position in great depth for my upcoming course, and the most natural move, bishop d3, is playable but not the best. It's a bit of a sort of complicated discussion, but on this one, it's better to delay this move and focus on something like knight h3, bishop g3, knight f4. Because normally if you enter these positions against the Slav, this move ends up being very useful in allowing him to push the pawns. We can still do it and try to show the main plans for the sake of it. And yeah, I'm just gonna do it just to show that, okay, I mean, at this level, even if you don't play the sort of ultra precise variation, you can still totally get away with it. Yeah, I mean, I got punished a few times while facing stronger opponents around like 25-2600 in Blitz, but I think definitely normally I still score, you know, positive win rate here. It might sound like a bit of a crazy discussion since, okay, it's just the most normal pawn storm, but I wanted to bring up that nuance because I noticed while analyzing the this h5 with c6 line. So still, if black just plays g6, bishop, g7 castles, we can easily get an autopilot win. Okay, bishop b4, normally always doing knight e2. before long castle. Also, I may have missed the opportunity of going g6 just because I was rushing. Yeah, I just rushed. I could have pushed g6. I can do it now still. Okay, what is the point behind his move? Queen e7. So with queen e7, he wants to play e5. Now, in chess, you want to make sure to check out what is your opponent's idea, and if he has a bad idea, you should normally let him do it. You don't want to interrupt your opponent from doing bad ideas. That's an important life lesson. So, most normal move would be either a3 or castle. Let's say castle and then e5. Takes, knight takes, f queen f5, and then he goes. Okay, he cannot go knight f3. I think that's not a good move. Might be wrong. I was thinking there's bishop b8, but there's queen e3, intermezzo. It kind of complicates. King b1. Rook d3. I have a feeling that should still be good for us. I'm more afraid of knight e5, queen f5, and then knight d7. But then, okay, some sort of e4, pressuring the center, I have a feeling should be really good. Also, g6, f6, I'm not super sure how much it helps right now, knowing that he really wants to do e5. So yeah, I'm just gonna castle. I try to understand a little bit what's gonna happen after e5, because that's literally the only idea behind queen e7. If he doesn't play, then okay, we might do e4 ourselves. So yeah, let's see. Really expecting e5, but e5 it just feels wrong because it's opening up the position while his king is in the middle. So as per usual, you spend 2 minutes thinking about something and he makes a move that you didn't even consider. That's okay. And yeah, I think now we're going for this typical combo. So you really want to remember this mech combo. You want to go g6. So you get the mech chicken, and after f6, you get the fries. You play e4. That is why it's a combo. So g6, weakening this e6 square, and now e4. So idea is to take, bring the rook, and e6 square, especially after he trades on f4, yeah, like notice, this is gonna be instantly winning. Possibly on queen d6, we may already have a winning move. So he's quite likely to play queen d6 here, which I think yeah, could actually be a mistake, but it's a logical mistake. He doesn't really have many moves. He could also play knight a6, losing in brilliant fashion. Hopefully he does that. He cannot castle short because of knight h5. And also e5 right away, it's not logical because he opens up the position yet again with the king in the middle. So the e5 simple move, but also maybe on e5, it was interesting to consider knight sacrifice. But okay, so he takes. So first instinct, you want to get into the habit of controlling the center with the pawns if possible. But I'm also checking whether queen e4 could potentially give some immediate win thanks to the weakness of the e6 pawn. So queen takes will basically force him to go e5, which I think is risky for him, as I already mentioned a million times. What do we do on e5? I don't have to take, but I could. Take, he takes with a knight. I don't see anything immediate there. On e5, I can even play a casual move. Like rook age-e1. Saying, what are you gonna do? Yeah, I just have a feeling here. It's time to pressure that e6 square. I already told you that's the main idea behind the combo. So I'm gonna be sticking to my word. Targeting e6. He did this move. Basically, I think he was afraid of. Notice knight a6, ed5, cd5. We have brilliant move. Okay, maybe just simple move as well, but knight takes e6, queen e6, and then rook ag1. And queen and king are trapped on the same file, and that would have led to a winning position. So in the game, he goes e5, targeting this knight. Uh, Taking knight takes, it's the first thing that comes to mind. I don't see an immediate win. Maybe just because I suck at calculation. I mean, yeah. I don't see it. So I should just play rook e1 perhaps? Question mark? Yeah. He cannot take because of this, and we're also bringing the last piece into the attack, so that's fairly logical. And in order for him to develop, right, like he cannot castle because of that. He goes knight a6, right? So he's preparing long castle. Okay, yet again, maybe quickly want to check this move, but it's not really obvious how it happens. So this is, has to be played. We have to finally open the thing up. And if he long castles, trying to bail out, well, he's just going to be down a pawn for the rest of the game without really any compensation. So this move, yeah, I thought was mandatory. But now, when knight takes on e5 is played, the drawback is that he can no longer castle. So we keep his king in the middle for a while. And I was thinking now queen f5 idea could be pretty strong. Introducing some potentially knight e6 in the position. Also, knight d5 could be interesting. With knight d5 and then f4. Regaining the piece and opening him up. But I think you don't even need to complicate. I thought this is very strong. Just kind of sidestepping, creating the pressure, maybe threatening even knight h5, maybe threatening knight e6 idea. I think he's really cooked. I just don't have to do something stupid, which I normally end up doing anyways, but hopefully we're gonna be able to convert this one. Damn. This is about to get brilliant. But I just know that I'm about to do something stupid because I don't have a lot of time on the clock. I just know there is some knight d5 combo or like knight e4. Okay, I think he has to try rook d8 just to not lose immediately. Take that, knight e6 check. And then f4. Yeah, okay, so he finds rook d8. Good defense. I think I have to take. I don't really see much point in going knight e6, even though it's a fine move. I think it's like nicer to take and bring with tempo, because king c8 we have discovery check somehow, somewhere. I was hoping at least. Like this. Yeah, also king c8 f4. Knight has to move and then we get a little kiss on the queen, like they say in snooker. Get a little kiss on the blue. So, kiss on the red. You get the point. Okay, king d7, I have double check. And king e8, it just feels like a king is now gonna be trapped in the middle. Same f4 idea, actually. Yeah, wow, okay, we might actually be able to convert this without having to sacrifice. Which, yeah, it's pretty nice. You just play logical moves, bring your pieces to the center, open the thing up. You don't even have to like remember the super precise detail. Remember that we played technically the inferior way against the Slav, but this is... Yeah, now f4. I think we're winning the knight. He's unable to move the knight, so might as well just take it. His rook is unable to enter the game. So that's another big issue. Knight on the edge. Well, this is just dream possession, dream execution. He might as well flag. No, he tries knight f3 with the last second, targeting the rook. But now the problem for him is that I have, okay, knight c7 discovery, but also knight g7. To double check which one is better. Okay, so I'm gonna take this one. Notice that knight is untakeable because of the fork, and yeah, he runs out of time as we were about to collect his queen. So, yeah, I don't know. Apparently we got only an 87? Dude, are you kidding me? All this perfect play for an 87? I honestly think this was an underrated game. I think this was really important and instructive overall. So G6 combo, E4, very strong move. And here I think taking with the queen was really important to target E6, and then yeah, take queen F5. He is just cooked here after that move. He cannot do anything, and his biggest issue is that he's never able to castle, and the problem is that these rooks are unable to join the game. So yeah, he's just completely lost because of that. So remember these ideas. Mid bishop f5 with the pawn storm. Remember to answer h5 with g5, and yeah, take it from there. And with that being said, I think we can move on to the following game. All right, everybody, back with another Caro facing Mr. Enrique Silva from Brazil. All right. Going for the Caro and getting ourselves an advance. Gonna be going for my main recommendation, c5, expecting c3 or takes. Yeah, it's taking this time. In case of c3, you just go knight c6, knight f3, and then get the bishop outside the pawn chain, and only then e6. So bishop g4 first, then e6, and yeah, life is pretty good after. cd4, this knight goes to f5. This bishop goes to e7, castle, yada yada yada. On dc5, there's gonna go knight c6, attack this pawn. And normally white ends up playing knight f3 most of the times. However, bishop b5 or f4 are also playable. But yeah, knight f3 it's most common, and now we get the typical pin. And it's important for him to play c3. But most people do bishop e2 in low elo, bishop e2 or bishop f4. Yeah, okay, bishop f4 it is. Just inferior move because black can easily regain the pawn. And yeah, life is pretty good. We're just getting a kind of improved version of the French defense, because in the French defense you could get very similar position, but this bishop, instead of being on g4, is just, you know, sad and passive, kind of lonely on c8, not doing much. So taking back the pawn. At this point, white didn't really have a way to defend, and already we may actually get to have a winning move after castle. So we can try to pause the video and find it. Okay, this position is genuinely mentioned in my Chessable course. This happens all the time, because I'm pretty sure I'm not mixing it up. You can go bishop f3, and then after queen f3, you still have one more chance to try to find kind of the winning move. Why did we take unprovoked? Well, point is this guy is pretty weak. This guy is also pretty weak, so bishop d4, just winning the pawn, and just like that, if opponent plays one of the most common things by far, according to the statistics, and also you get to see it in this game, you can easily, I mean, just start the game with an extra pawn. Yeah, and make it pretty far. My opponent is 1500. I guess this mistake can happen even higher. And as black, you don't really need to know much. Just, okay. If you're a bit of a nerd, you can remember this idea. If you don't remember it and just play like knight e7 castle, knight g6, you're still slightly better. So life is good anyways. Bishop d4 is just kind of the tip of the iceberg. This is what perfect Caro-Kann looks like, at least in the 9 moves. Then I'll have to make some moves myself, and that's usually problematic. So, I don't know. You have to bear with me and see how this plays out. Yeah, I think we're going to be taking with the bishop, because taking with the knight lets the bishop on d4 kind of alone. And I expect him to go c3, so it's kind of forcing bishop takes on e5 anyways. Okay, opponent in deep thinking. He cannot really believe his eyes. How are we so crushing with a Caro-Kann? Well, that's a sign he didn't study my course, so it is his fault. I'm just going to be attacking the bishop. He checks. Now, we have a brilliant move not to lose the right of castling. So if you open up your eyes, you can realize the knight move backwards as well. Just go knight c6, then finish development, knight f6, castle rook c8, and still, this is gonna be quite instructive on the conversion part. Because, yeah, quite often, while dealing with the advance, I see the situation very common. When I worked with my students, around like 1000 elo, they get these pawns, they have extra pawn, and then they get a little bit too excited for the win, and they generally start rushing this pawn push in the center. So that's pretty much the only way to mess up the situation here. So, yes, we have an extra pawn, but you kind of want to play it cool. You don't want to be desperate, okay? You don't want to be, you don't want to start acting like a golden retriever. So, golden retrievers are pretty cute. But just imagine, I mean, if you want to win at chess, a golden retriever, I would kind of say that it's more on the lower elo spectrum. Just because of how cute it is, you cannot really beat many opponents, I have a feeling. So, you want to be a little bit more composed. You want to play these positions like a cat, like not showing much interest. You don't want to rush with these pawns, and with that, I mean, for a while, you can focus on the queen side and play a6, b5, try to make this pawn a weakness, try to look for ways to exchange pieces, and only then kind of keep these pawns for a later phase in the game. So with like rook endgame, or when you can clearly push them without becoming weak, because that's the biggest issue of the pawns there. The more you advance them, the more vulnerable they become. So knight c5, targeting this, first instinct. How on earth are we not simply winning a piece? Well, I don't know. I don't know. Let's see. He has to play bishop takes on c6. But then I have interesting choice. So you can try to pause the video again. Another instructive moment of the conversion. So which one do you take? Bishop or knight? And why? More important, why? You need to always understand the why. So, this is the key move. Because it's really restraining his options. Like, if the bishop goes back, b5, b4, we get quick pressure on c3. If he takes on b7, that's even worse. It looks like he's winning a pawn, but I can just play rook b8, and then that's gonna be followed up by rook takes on b2. I was thinking, I just missed b4 intermezzo. No, I didn't. Queen b6, and this bishop is trapped. So that's not a good move. He has to play bishop a6 like I initially was thinking. But then we pick up b2, and all of a sudden he has two isolated pawns that we can target. So notice that the material balance is still the same. We're still having only an extra pawn. But on the other hand, my opponent all of a sudden has two additional weaknesses. And we have also managed to trade a pair of pieces, which should generally help. Also some pressure on f2, like knight e4 shouldn't be underestimated. Just bishop d3 would be... Okay, I would play bishop d3 if I was him. Stopping knight e4 and setting up a nice trap. Because bishop d3, if you're being naive, you can go queen takes on c3. But be careful because bishop takes on h7, king takes on h7, and then queen takes on c3. It's not gonna lead to a pleasant situation. So, rook b1 he plays instead. I'm just gonna bring the last piece. Bang. Defending the rook. And he will probably take, because I'm threatening to win his rook. Okay, bishop d3. So he's doing it now. See, he's setting up the bait. I cannot take because of check. Wait, maybe I can do it. Yeah, I can do it because of the back rank. I can act like I blundered. Take, and then I can take with a knight. He takes my queen, and then I take on b1, and he's back ranked. That's actually hilarious. I'm gonna fake blunder. Oh no, my queen! This is so funny. Okay. I mean, I can even take with the king. So he's gonna be doing this. Alright, do not try this at home. Okay, you don't have to allow this. I'm just doing it because I'm evil. Okay, that's why I have no friends for these type of moves. It's super unnecessary, but it's just fun. Maybe my opponent just actually blundered the pawn and he didn't realize this is a clever trap, potentially. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Come on, Enrique. You know you won my free queen. Ah, he didn't. Did he even see it? Come on. Okay, now I cannot do this because then I'm like losing the queen for real. I have to take this way. And he cannot play rook b1. I mean, at the very least, I have queen e5, saving the rook. But on rook b1, I have better move I can take. Bishop b1, rook b1, with a back ranker. So rook e1, okay. So we have 2 extra pawns. I can win the third. I don't have to, but yeah, there's no drawback behind this move, so I'm gonna play it. Just need to be careful not to hang my rook. That's the only thing. So watch out for your undefended pieces. My only undefended piece is the rook, so I'm gonna have to protect it. I'm gonna do like queen b2 move now. Yeah, I think queen b2 is simple. Protecting knight, protecting rook. Rook b1, same idea. Yeah, actually queen b2 was inaccurate. Now that I think about it, I'm feeding this rook b1 motif, so I'll have to accept my slight inaccuracy and move the rook away. Maybe like rook c8. Rook is still undefended, but he doesn't really have a way to attack it. And in the next part of the conversion, we'll be looking for ways to exchange either the rook or the queen to limit the counterplay. So yeah, rook b1 is played. Now I think simply queen c3. So targeting the bishop, maybe queen c7. You know what? The next part of the conversion is to actually make a luft at some point. But wait, so he does that. If I take, I'm getting mated. Should not be playing that, I guess. If I do e5, he takes intermezzo, and then he takes the pawn. So that's achieving the goal of the rook trade, but it's at a cost of a pawn. So I'm way too cheap to give pawns like that. Although maybe I should. I don't know. I could also play knight d7. Try to force him into taking. Which honestly is a fairly good move. And I think I should just do it to clarify the situation. Yeah, knight d7. Hoping there are no tricks that I'm missing. But yeah, this should be good enough. Yeah, targeting this rook. If he moves back, I have a nice queen trade. So that's really a big threat here that he should watch out for. Okay, queen f3. Just a genius move. Trying to... basically thinking I take this way and then he traps me. But I can take with a knight. And yeah, he just forgot that... knight move backwards. Can also check and get out of that, but just gonna do the simple move. Oh no! He took. Genius. My opponent played the genius idea. Alright, never mind. He resigned after. That's how genius it was. Okay. Okay, pretty clean advance. Got 97. Simply utilizing one of the most common traps for the whole variation. It's like not even a trap. It's just why this is bad. So common play for white. That's why this variation is just so effective. Anywhere below like 2300 because this thing is very common. So bishop g4. They play bishop f4 because we're already having ideas to take and then this pawn is weak. And after e6, they're just like, oh, I already don't have a way to defend. You take, and then they think, oh, I'm just gonna mind my own business, I'm gonna castle. But it's already too late. Because you have takes. And then bang! And there's no way for white to save the pawn. And black is already winning. Move 9. Against the advance. Isn't that pretty crazy? So, yeah. Now, if you've been waiting to get my Caro-Kann course, it's currently on a sale for the first time in a few months. Or if you're simply looking to watch more videos, make sure to check out this video. That video. Go there. You want to go there. Come on.